As always, don't forget to check the video description down below for the best prices on parts and tools we use in today's project. Today we have this 2003 PT Cruiser. We're doing an alternator. I watched a few videos and I feel like I made an improvement, made it even easier. The book says to take like the axle off and this other piece, and then I watched another video and this is where I got the idea from, and I'll try and put a link in the description below for his video, but he basically shows where you can just take the shield off and pull it from off top. And then I did it without taking the shield off. I just took one of the shield bolts off. And so basically I'll just give you a brief overview of how to remove the alternator. Doing it this way, I believe, is the quickest and easiest way. So let's check it out. Alright, so first thing we're gonna do, the book says take all this stuff off so you can disconnect the battery. I was able to just kind of lift up, and it's a 10mm, and I just used a wrench, and I was able to just loosen my wire and take it off from there. I didn't have to take this off. And then next thing you gotta do, there's gonna be an electrical connector right here. I took that electrical connector off, and then your coolant tank reservoir is gonna be sitting right in here. See, you have a stud right there and a stud, or it's actually a bolt hole that goes in right over there, and you take those two off and then you're able to pull your coolant reservoir out through there. It looks like this guy right here, and wow, that is some nasty coolant, but this is what it looks like. So you just take those off, and there's a hose sitting on there. There's no clamp. I just took a pair of needle nose pliers, got below it and popped it off. And then I popped the hose off after I pulled the coolant reservoir out. Then you'll be able to see your alternator is down there. You have a 15mm. You can see there's no nut on that stud right there. There's a 15mm you gotta take off. And then if you see that bolt right there, that is the tension bolt. That is, what was that? It's a 13mm. Loosen that in order to loosen the alternator and take the belt off. Then I'll show you down at the bottom. You got a 15mm bolt at the bottom. And the other thing the book said was take your shield off, and I think the guy did that too, but you don't even have to take the shield off. We'll come on in here and we can see there's your bolt. It's got a through bolt that runs through there. It's a 15. That's what it looks like. Got this through bolt, and then you got this nut on the other side. Chrysler was real nice, and they didn't just put a nut, they put this piece so you don't have to hold it with a wrench, which is great. And that is, once you loosen those two, both of the mounting bolts, then you can loosen the tensioner bolt and slide the belt off. And then you have two electrical connectors. I'll show you on the old one. Basically you have a squeeze and pull, and you have a 10mm. I'll put the old alternator in the box, but the important thing to know here is for that squeeze and pull connector, if you look back on the connector, there's a red tab. You have to slide that red tab over to be able to squeeze and pull it off. I tried to fight it for a little bit and squeeze and pull. I was like, why isn't it coming off? And then I pulled the alternator up, and then I was able to see the connectors better, and I saw that little red tab. So you do have to pop the red tab over, similar to on this connector. Where's this connector? I'll show you what it looks like. Here it is. So it's similar to this style type of thing where you pop it back, push in, and pop back. But on the alternator, it's going to be, instead of, if this was horizontal, this would be vertical. And it'll be towards the back. So just keep that in mind. And other than that, I believe this is the quickest, fastest way. Hopefully I'm adding something to YouTube, not just another video. And yeah, oh, and this is what it looked like. By the way, this is like one of the main things I need to share. So you can see, I did take, there's a 10 there, and it actually broke off. And if you take the whole thing off, there's a 10 there, and then there's a 10 down in the middle. And those were kind of hard to get to. So what I did is I just bent it back a lot, and I was able to squeeze the alternator up through this hole. Just be really careful of your lines. Those are metal lines, and I think they're fuel lines. Just be careful not to bend those up or make any holes in those, because it is a tight squeeze. But I was able to get it in and out through that hole instead of having to actually take the shield off, which would have taken a little bit of extra time, especially if those bolts are rusted like they were on this car. So that's it. So hopefully that saves you a little bit of time, and that's everything. So thanks for watching.